out though. I would say, you know what? You could have flipped that shit though and say, "Hey, they call me head with the ladies." You know what I mean? You could have flipped it that way.
Yeah, no, I just didn't like it. I didn't like it because I know what it meant. I can't flip it when I know. I know what the fuck it means. I was a little bitty big head motherfucker. That's what it is.
But you could have flipped it, man. You girls say, "Hey, what's your name?" They call me head. They're like, "Really?"
Hey, oh, really? Yeah.
So yeah, let me go ahead and hit them up with this intro. So here we go.
What's up, young scholars? This the Dad Cypher.
So what up, young scholars? This your boy, the extra large professor, and sitting to my left is my cousin Gary Adolph. Now, this dude right here is, like I say, like when I say A1 from day one, this is definitely that dude. I would say before the extra large professor was who he is now. You see me with the, you know, little cuts and stuff in the beard or whatever. You know, if not, I'll take a picture or whatever. But you see with the little cuts. Before I was on that shit, I was into Young MC, some Fresh Prince shit, that sort of thing. And I was like, hip hop. This dude right here introduced me to Q, NWA, blew my mind, man. I was like, what the hell is this shit? And he changed my career, man. You know, he is young. He's a young man who has came through the mud and through the dirt. We both grew up inner city. But I would say, you know, definitely if it was not for him introducing me to hip hop, if it was not for him, you know, letting me get into the culture, because this man not only, you know, introduced me to hip rap, but he was a break dancer, a lot of different things that involve with the culture. So, you know, I got to give it up to my cuz. Well, no longer little anymore, but Big Gary Adolph.
Okay.
What's up, man? Okay. So this segment of the Dad Cypher is something new. It's going to be called the Fatherhood Chop Up, and it's basically like we just chopping it up, man. Just trying to talk about, you know, this is what you would hear from the OGs in the barbershop. So y'all getting this game for free without a lining. So here we go. So right. That being said, I'm gonna just go right on into it and just say, what would you say your father experience was like? What was it? What would you describe like your relationship with your father, and what would you know, and that sort of thing? Let's start there.
I mean, as you know very well, I really didn't have a relationship with my father. You know, I would see him from time to time, you know, whenever he wanted to come over to Granny house and, you know what I'm saying, and sleep for a few days or whatnot, you know, when I was there, when I would be at Granny's house. But I didn't have a relationship with him. I knew nothing about him and he knew nothing about me. You know, so I didn't have a relationship with him. And, you know, I wanted one. You know, I wanted a father, or, you know what, it's kind of sad to say, I wanted a father figure, but not him.
Yeah, and you know what's so bad about that, man? People, some fathers out there think like I spend a lot of time with my kids if those kids go over to their mama house. And I think that's what, you know, like your pops was like, hey, I'm taking care of and spending time with my kids because, see, they coming over my mom's house. But
you're not spending no time with us. He wasn't spending no time with us. We were spending time with Granny. We were spending time with you.
Right.
Boosie. You know, we were spending time with him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know? And that's one thing that I want to say to all those dads out there, man. That shit ain't cool to just be like, hey, you know, I'm spending time with my kids because they at my mama house. No, nigga, you got to put in that work.
What your mama do don't count.
Right.
as
You have,
you know what I'm saying. You can't carry that over as for what you're doing, or use that to make up for the things that you don't do because you didn't do it. You
right,
know, of course, as far as you say, because I can only speak on myself and well, you as well, because you know what I'm saying. We
right,
grew up together. You
right,
know, of course, you know, grandma and grandpa, you know what I'm saying, did everything for us. You know,
right.
but he can't, you know what I'm saying. He can't use that and say, "Yo, well, my mom and my pops did." Nah, fuck that, bro. What did you do? You know,
Yeah, you know,
never pitched or kicked at a ball. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
So that brings me on to my next thing, man. So when you start thinking about your father's experience, how do you think that shit? How do you think that father experience shaped who you are as a father today? You know
Man, you know
how?
what? What that did was it showed me what I didn't want to be. It showed me he showed me what I didn't want to be, and showed me what not to do. You know, so instead of him showing me how to be a father, he showed me how not to be a father. So I didn't want that. I didn't want a child to think of me the way that I think of him. You know what I'm saying? Or the way you know what I'm saying? I didn't want no child to grow up thinking of me the way that I think of him, because my dad was a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I tell him that. You know, he's a piece of shit. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And he's still not that great. You know what I'm saying? But you know,
right,
but I mean, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, he definitely showed me what not to be.
man. So just for the viewers, like how many kids do you have, and like what's their ages and that sort of thing?
I got a gang. You know what I'm saying? I got a gang. I followed my father's footsteps in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Do got a bunch of kids. Well, my kids age from 25 to 1.
To
My oldest is
one.
25. Then I have a 19-year-old. Then I have a 16-year-old. Then I have a 13-year-old. Yeah. Then I have an 11-year-old.
Oh my God.
Then
And
I
then,
have a 4-year-old. And then I have a 1-year-old. Gang.
oh.
And,
So
and the sad thing about it, hold on. Let me speak on that a little bit. The
okay.
sad thing about that situation is, you know, it really sucks because I mean I don't know if you were going to get off into this later, so maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit,
No.
but um, it sucks, having kids by different women, and and I feel and I strongly feel this. No matter what you do, you can never be a complete father if you're not in the household. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man. That you know
And
what?
it sucks. You know what I'm saying? You can do the best that you can, but you can never be a complete father if you're not in the house with those kids. If you're not in the home with those kids, you're not a complete father.
What
You know what I'm saying?
what do you think is the thing that blocks it off? Because see, with my kids, they're all still by my ex-wife. All four of my kids
Mm-hmm.
come from like one woman, so I knew like my father. He had tons of kids.
Mm-hmm.
From an assortment of different
Yeah,
women and that sort of.
yeah.
But what is it? What do you think is the biggest obstacle? Like when you have kids by multiple women, what prevents you from like being that complete dad?
First off, you know what I'm saying? Being young and just fucking just to be fucking. You know what I'm saying? To put it bluntly, you know.